Hey there, it's Lara. I'm back with another Witchy Wednesday, this time for the week of March 20th to 26th, 2019. So welcome. I was away last week, first time I ever missed a Witchy Wednesday video since I started doing these. And I was on vacation and I was celebrating my 50th birthday. I'm having a big old Chiron return over here. But I'm back this week with a lot of news, and this is like the 7th time I've tried to record this video for you today. It's been a bit frustrating, I'm not going to lie, but Mercury is still retrograde. And I guess I have to be grateful because we traveled and everything and had no glitches, nothing like that. So I guess this is my turn, right? But I have a lot to say to you today. And it's a really big time for all of us right now. Why is that? Well, we've got a full moon happening in Libra today, at the same time that we are marking the equinox, right? The equinox is happening today as well. The spring equinox in the northern hemisphere, the fall equinox in the southern hemisphere. So that is a point where the day and night are in perfect balance. The sun and the moon, right, are in perfect balance. And those themes of harmony and balance are being drawn to our attention right now. As is, the equinox marks the first day of spring, right? And in the northern hemisphere. And so we are also highlighting these themes of new beginnings right now. And we are, celebrating today the pagan or the witches' holiday of Ostara, which is the precursor for Easter, right? And Ostara is the ancient holiday that those symbols like the rabbit and the egg all stem from. But this is about a rebirth. It's when the spring is, breathing new life into the earth. And here you'd never really know that because we still have a lot of snow on the ground, but it is warming up a bit. And if you're interested in knowing more about how to mark this occasion and what kind of sort of rituals or practices you can do around that, I'm going to mention a couple later in the video, but you can research that, spring equinox rituals, Ostara practices and rituals, full moon rituals even, if that's something that you're interested in. But today and the next couple of days are a good time to do that. So because I've done this video so many times, I want to make sure that I get everything I want to say to you in here, everything that's of significance and importance. And every time this happens to me, which is almost always during Mercury retrograde, every time I go to do the next take, and I hope that will be the one that works, I always think maybe this is happening because there's something I forgot to say in the last take that's important. So let's hope it all gets out here this time. So, this full moon in Libra is happening at 0 degrees, the very beginning of the sign. It's happening at the same time as the sun is at 0 degrees of Aries, the equinox point, right? The astrological new year, not January like we think of it in our Western culture, but it happens at the equinox, and which is today. And so we have this energy of new beginnings. New moon full moon at 0 degrees, sun at 0 degrees. We also have Taurus or Uranus at 0 degrees Taurus. And then we've had all this energy in Pisces, which is the last sign of the zodiac, right? Aries is the first sign, the new beginning of the new cycle. Pisces is the ending. So beginnings and endings, I've said this many times, these themes are playing out for us. And we're at a real major precipice here of beginnings and endings. And all the Pisces energy that we have recently experienced, and we're still in to a degree, right? Mercury is still retrograde in Pisces. Neptune is still conjuncting Mercury in Pisces. And Venus is about to move into Pisces on the 26th, where she likes to be, actually. She's quite comfortable there. But all that Piscean energy, Pisces being a water sign ruled by the planet Neptune, right, who has no boundaries, has really allowed us this major cleansing, hopefully, if we've, harnessed this energy and responded to it in that way, rather than just kind of running away and escaping and hiding. But if we've allowed and encouraged this cleansing to happen, and this sort of going with the flow to happen, and this allowing time for our imagination and our dreams and all of that right now, then we are well prepared for the new beginnings that are on offer. And it may not be time quite yet to bust out of the gate, guns a-blazing kind of thing, which Aries kind of likes to do, because this full moon is part of a larger story. The interesting thing is there is going to be another full moon in Libra in April, which is not usual, right? It will be a blue moon. That's where the term comes from. Once in a blue moon, because it happens very infrequently where we have two full moons back to back in the same sign. And so this is happening. And the next one in April is going to be at the end of Libra. This one's at the beginning, 0 degrees. The next one's at 29. So there is this larger story playing out here. And this involves Libran themes. And that Libra-Aries axis of self and other, of relationship, ultimately, right? Aries is all about the self. It's the initial life spark. It is autonomous. It's about independence. Where Libra is about relationship, compromise, the other, give and take, seeking balance and harmony, and equality, right? And alignment. So that axis of self and other is really highlighted for us during this full moon. And there's a lot of other stuff going on. I'm going to show you the chart right now, first off, before we go any further, because I just want to illustrate to you. You see, the chart is very busy. There's many, many conversations between planets going on right now. And but significantly here, we've got the sun in Aries, right? 0 degrees, the equinox point, right beside or conjunct Chiron in Aries at 1 degree. Right across the sky from the moon in Libra at 0 degrees, right? A full moon is always when the sun and the moon are opposite each other. And then we've also got, there's Uranus, 0 degrees, Taurus. We've got Mars in Taurus. We've got, there I mentioned, Mercury and Neptune conjunct in Pisces. Venus in Aquarius about to move into Pisces. This powerhouse still going on in Capricorn. South Node, Pluto and Saturn. Jupiter in Sagittarius. And the North Node here in Cancer. But you can see the busyness, right? The busyness in the chart. There's a lot going on. And without going down that rabbit hole too far, I just want to say to you, one of the interesting things that's happening right now, there are a lot of what we call quincunxes or inconjuncts in the chart. That is another type of conversation between planets, right? That I don't talk about that often here. But it is when planets are at 150-degree angles to each other. So there are many of these happening in the chart, and they are actually forming what we call yods. Because when we have two quincunxes that are related by a sextile, right? Without getting too technical, it makes this kind of skinny triangle with a point. We call that a yod, also known as a finger of fate or the finger of God. And there is this element of kind of fatedness or karma or special destiny, if you will, that goes along with this configuration. And inconjunct in general is this energy of like where we have a blind spot. We need to make adjustments, perhaps even kind of little microscopic adjustments, right? And so we're kind of at this time right now where we've had all this cleansing Pisces energy, and we still have some of that right now. We're being asked to perhaps make some adjustments before fully moving forward with our new beginnings right now. So I wanted to mention that to you. Something I really want to focus on here is the fact that we have Chiron conjuncting the sun, right beside the sun, in Aries, at the beginning of Aries, right? At the same time as this full moon is happening across the sky. This is significant. First off, the last time this happened this closely was in 2000. So you can look at that and see if there were, themes recurring for you. And the last time it happened on this exact date was in 1981. So, however, why is this important that Chiron is conjuncting the sun at the beginning of Aries at the same time as a full moon at the beginning of Libra, which is incidentally the third of 3 full moons at 0 degrees of their signs this year. So that's significant, right? Beginnings. Well, in mythology, Chiron was abandoned by his parents, and he was adopted by Apollo, the sun. So they have a very close connection, a very close relationship. The sun saved Chiron. Apollo saved Chiron and taught him everything he knows. And so the sun and Chiron are in cahoots, right? Kind of thing. The sun is supporting Chiron to do his job of healing. And I've done many other discussions on Chiron in these videos, but also 2 separate videos on Chiron on my channel, which you can check out if you want. Chiron is a big subject of interest for me for several reasons. My interest in healing and my own experience with Chiron in my chart, including the fact that I'm going through my own Chiron return right now. And it's a very significant one. And because of where it's placed, and I won't go into the details. And this full moon and this equinox is aligning perfectly with some major factors in my chart, including the 0 to 1 degrees Aries point, which is where my own natal Chiron and my North Node are. And at the 0 to 2 degrees Libra point, which is where the full moon is, I have a conjunction of Uranus and Jupiter in my chart. Anyways, and that's just the basics. So big things happening over here. But Chiron and the sun are closely connected, right? And they are closely connected, obviously, to this full moon, because this is all happening at once. So I see this as this astrological new year beginning is this, it's marking a year, a cycle of profound healing, right? Chiron just shifted into Aries. The cycle is going to last for like 8 years. Profound healing of what? Profound healing of the self, the identity, ultimately. A light, the sun, is being shone on Chiron, and calling for healing ourselves, right? And I want to really focus on the fact that this configuration here and this alignment with the sun, moon, and Chiron is all about, in my mind anyway, the fact that we need to heal ourselves in order to heal others, in order to heal the whole. We need to start with ourselves, right? Self, Aries, where the sun and Chiron are. The other, Libra, or the balance, the harmony, the compromise, all of that, Libra. So Libra is the sign of relationship, right? We need to be in right relationship to ourselves before we can be that to others, in right relationship to others. So right now, with all that's going on in the world, it's sometimes, it can feel like we need to be out there doing things out there. And I'm not saying we don't, but what I am saying is that we are really being called to be our authentic selves, to find out who that is if we don't know or if we've forgotten, to heal ourselves, on every level, our physical selves, but our relationship to ourselves, our wounding, about who we are, and our belonging in the world, kind of thing. So I really wanted to highlight that for you. And I think that ultimately we can prepare ourselves for this new beginning, right? In this powerful healing cycle through, at this point in time, like the equinox point, and Ostera, through doing some kind of cleansing, clearing ritual. It's a perfect time for spring cleaning, like a major spring cleaning. And that can include cleaning your space, your home, your car, whatever, your office, anything like that, your physical space. But it can also include clearing your energetic space, clearing your, spring cleaning your finances, right? Your relationship to your material belongings, your physical being. So some kind of cleansing of the body. All of those things are great. You can do smudging rituals right now. You can do releasing rituals where you write things down and that you want to let go of and not carry forward into this new year, and burn those things up. All kinds of things you can do. You can research that online if you're interested, as I mentioned before. But, we're looking at all of these themes at this time of our relationships, to ourself and others, our relationships to the material world, to our finances, to our resources, to our worth and our values. Those are all being highlighted. So this is playing out on a specific axis for each of us, right? Depending on where it falls. So I'm going to go through that now, and I'm going to speak to each rising sign first and foremost. So if you know your rising sign, listen for that first, because in these general forecasts, it tends to be the most accurate. But then also listen for your sun and your moon sign as well. So I'm not sure if I mentioned why I still have these glasses on. Like I said, 7 takes later, you forget what you said, right? But my eye is still healing. I didn't think it would take this long, but it is. Hopefully by next week, I won't have this glare for you. So anyways, let's get on with it. I'm going to start with Libra because this is your full moon, Libra. One of 2 full moons that you're getting this year, which is pretty special. So the Libra themes are being really highlighted for all of us, particularly for you. And the moon is happening in your first house, right? The full moon, the house of self. And it's happening opposite the sun Chiron in the 7th house of relationship, the other. So this is a big theme. It's the overarching theme kind of for all of us, but for you, it's really highlighted. So something's calling for your attention here, Libra, regarding your relationships, right? And I really feel like your relationship to yourself is really factoring in here, definitely. And how you approach the world, the first impression that you make. This is all about the first house. Your instinctual response to the world, your physicality, right? Even your physical health is being highlighted here. And all of this is connected to the relationships you have with others. And Chiron and the sun are sitting in your 7th house, empowering you to heal your one-to-one relationships over this cycle. And, empowering you to do the Libra thing of gaining balance, right? If you're out of balance. So meaning, is there too much give and take in relationship, right? Are you giving too much? Are you taking too much? Are you out of alignment with yourself? Right? Like who you are on the inside is not who you are presenting as on the outside. Are you kind of not laying the cards on the table with your partner. So me, what by that I mean, like, are you one way? If you were to be your authentic self, this would be you, but you are kind of compromising all over the place in order to please somebody else, right? You might want to take a look at that potentially, if that's something that's coming up for you right now. But generally, relationships of all kinds are being highlighted for you with this alignment. Okay, so that's for you, Libra. We're going to talk more about your next full moon in April when we get there as well. Moving on to Virgo. Virgo, this is happening in your second house, the full moon, which is opposite the 8th house where the Sun and Chiron are. This is the axis of formation and transformation, 2nd and 8th houses. So this is asking, what and who do you value, right? 2nd house. What and who do you value? This full moon may illuminate this for you right now. And there may be some kind of crisis or culmination or realization or releasing even, regarding your personal resources and values and material possessions, your relationship to kind of like survival, right? Your basic needs, your self-worth. This may be highlighted at the time of the full moon. And this is happening opposite the Sun Chiron in the 8th house, which is encouraging and empowering you to heal the resources that you share with others, or the resources and money that come to you through others, whether that be a partner, significant other, a business partner, or come to you through like other people, like taxes, payouts, insurance, bursaries, wills, all of that kind of thing, right? This also has to do with your intimate life, your intimate connections, your deep psychological wounding and healing. It's the deep stuff in the 8th house, right? Sometimes like the secrets and the taboo. And ultimately, there is profound healing on offer here. Who are you in this arena, right? Aries, identity, the self. And how can you be more honest and more in integrity about that? So there's so much more I could say, but I'm going to leave it at that, Virgo. And moving on to Leo now. And Leo, full moon is happening in your 3rd house, opposite the Sun Chiron in your 9th house. So this is what we call the mental axis, or the axis of the mind, right? Because the 3rd and the 9th house they share this theme of well, the 3rd house is like our intellect, our rational mind, our thoughts and our communications, whereas the 9th house is the bigger picture, our philosophy, our worldview, what we learn through people that are different, or places that are different from us. So travel, long distance travel, other cultures, teachers, right? Teaching and learning experiences. Also publishing can fall into this house as well. So that's what's that's the axis being highlighted for you. And ultimately, you could be at this place where different points of view are happening. Like, you are not seeing eye to eye about something with other people or with another person. You're at odds, perhaps. And the full moon is illuminating your communications, right? Your daily communications and interactions. Oftentimes this has to do with siblings, peers, the people we connect with on the day-to-day, that are close to us, because the 3rd house also rules like commutes. So all those kind of back and forth daily interactions that we have. But something may be coming to a head now, or coming to fruition, or realization, right? So it's a good time to strive to see things from the other's perspective right now for you, Leo. And to try to see, just see things from a different point of view. But and maybe communicate in a different way than you have before as well. And see how shifting that perspective can perhaps help to smooth over any bumps in your partnerships, that kind of thing. So, all right, I'm going to leave that there for you, Leo. Again, so much more to say, but we have to stop somewhere, right? And I'm going to move on to Cancer. So I'm just going to, if you don't mind me for 1 second, I have to unplug something here because I'm getting a warning. Okay, so Cancer, the full moon is happening in your 4th house. This is your home house, Cancer. So, and the moon rules Cancer, right? So this is all about, your 4th house is about your home and your family and your place of living and your ancestry and your roots and your emotional security as well. And then the 10th house is about your public persona and your career. So this is the axis of the public and the private, of your attachments versus your achievements. And your work-life balance may be up for review right now. Something may need to be released. Something may be illuminated. It may reach some kind of culmination or fruition or crisis point potentially at this time. It could even just be that things around your house, you're doing a major spring cleaning or sprucing things up and bringing more comfort to your home and more balance and harmony, right? Those Libra things. You may realize that the balance between your private and your public life needs to be recalibrated. So are things out of whack there? Do they need to be brought into alignment, right? And then the Sun in Chiron is really offering you some encouragement and some healing in terms of your public reputation. Those 10th house matters, your status, your relationship to authority figures, your career ambitions, right? All of that kind of thing. So that's for you, Cancer. And we're moving on to Gemini now. Gemini, the full moon is happening in your 5th house. 5th house. So shining a light here on children, your children that you work with or are associated with, your inner child, your creative self-expression, right? How you express yourself creatively out in the world. And also what sparks joy for you, how you have fun and pleasure in life. So some kind of, culmination is happening there, or again, a highlighting of that area, right? An insight, an illumination, a realization, some kind of crisis point, perhaps even. And then the Sun in Chiron at the equinox point, right, in Aries, across the sky there, is bringing you healing and empowering you to heal your friendships, your networks, your associations and organizations that you're involved in, how you interact with the collective. And your vision for the future as well falls into this category. So that's going to be a healing theme. And who are you in relation to those things, right? That's the Aries piece. What is your identity in relation to those things? So that's highlighted for you through this cycle, Gemini. Moving on to Taurus. Taurus, the full moon's happening in your 6th house. And it's happening opposite the 12th house, right? Which is where Chiron and the Sun are sitting. This is the axis of spirituality. It's like order versus chaos. Our physical health versus our spiritual health. The day-to-day, right? The daily grind, that's the 6th house, versus kind of the spirituality. It's like, imagine the day-to-day busyness, like you're doing all the tasks on your daily work, whether that be, at home, unpaid work, or at your job, the busyness of running around and doing those things. And then the 12th house is like the solitude, the rest and relaxation, the rejuvenation and the recuperation piece. So that's a way to look at this axis. So anyway, Chiron and the Sun are meeting up there, bringing you a healing opportunity, as I mentioned, in regard to really your spiritual life, to how you perhaps spend time in solitude. Maybe rest and relaxation are the road to healing for you right now. This could be about healing self-sabotage, addictions, unconscious patterns and behaviors. And this could be done through or in association with some kind of treatment facility, a hospital, a spiritual retreat center, even a prison, an ashram, anything that's sort of hidden away like that. And that's the Sun Chiron piece. And then there's this coming to fruition or culmination happening, or some crisis point happening in terms of your day-to-day routine. So maybe, for example, like you're realizing that the day-to-day is gone off the rails, too much going on, too much busyness, and you need to bring that back into alignment with some R&R, with your spiritual life, right? You need to pay some attention to that. So that could potentially be what's going on for you, Taurus. Moving on to Aries. Aries, we've got the full moon happening in your 7th house. And so just like Libra, this is happening on the same axis because Aries and Libra are opposite signs, right? But it's happening in the reverse order. So the full moon's happening in the 7th house for you, whereas Sun and Chiron are conjuncting in the 1st house. Still, this is highlighting the relationship axis, self and other. For you, the full moon is reflecting on partnerships and healing the self in relation to the other. So healing your relationships, really, that's what the full moon is it's culminating or reflecting on or illuminating or releasing something that has to do with your one-to-one relationships. And then the Sun and Chiron across the sky are empowering you to heal the self, right? That's where Chiron is. It's in your sign over these next 8 years. So it's about healing your identity, potentially your identity in relationship, in regards to relationship, how you operate in relationship, and self-healing in general. And self-healing may even become kind of more public in some way, if that makes sense to you, Aries. And so I'm going to leave you with that to contemplate, and I'm going to move on to Pisces. And Pisces, so this is happening in the 8th and the 2nd house for you. So same as Virgo, but the opposite, right? Because Virgo is your opposite sign. So it's flipped. So the full moon is happening in the 8th house for you, whereas the Sun Chiron are conjuncting in the 2nd house for Pisces rising. And again, this is all about transformation and formation, right? So think of the Phoenix rising. That's the imagery here. The 8th house is ruled by Scorpio. This is taking something material, right? Breaking it down to create something new. So ultimately, this full moon is about give and take regarding your resources. All of your resources, right? Your personal resources. When I say resources, I don't just mean money. And the full moon is illuminating something regarding your resources and your shared resources ultimately, right? The money that you share with others or that comes to you through others. It can be through taxes or, comes and goes, I guess, through others. Taxes, insurance, inheritance, bursaries, spouses' incomes, business partnerships, payouts there, that kind of thing. And also the 8th house speaks to our psychological, like the deep psyche. It's anything very intimate, the 8th house, right? So that can be physical intimacy. It can be psychological intimacy. It can be our secrets and our kind of obsessions and compulsions as well. And our psychological wounding, right? It all falls into this category. The 8th house is a deep house. So something highlighted there for you with this full moon, and then Sun and Chiron in Aries is calling your attention and empowering you to heal your finances, your material resources, your relationship you have to that, your sense of survival, what you value, your self-worth, all of those things. You are being empowered to heal that in some way over this Chiron cycle. And so that is for you, Pisces. And we are moving on to Aquarius now. Aquarius, the full moon is happening in your ninth house. And then the Chiron Sun conjunction is happening in your third house. So again, same as your opposite sign Leo, but flipped, right? So this is the mental axis, or the axis of the mind that we're talking about here. So the full moon is bringing about some kind of culmination, bringing something to a head, illuminating something, some kind of crisis point, regarding your philosophy, your worldview, how you see things, the bigger picture. It can also it can revolve around things like travel of the long distance variety, or higher education, college, university, or things that you learn kind of outside of elementary school basics. And it can have to do with what you learn, or connections to other cultures, from other cultures, or connections to other cultures, right? And it's time for you to kind of look at the balance here, or maybe make a decision regarding these things. And think about, perhaps one thing to consider is sort of what you say on a daily basis, what you communicate on a daily basis, which would kind of be your third house. Is that aligned with your personal philosophy, which would be more the ninth house, right? And then Chiron and the Sun are coming together to empower you to heal with regards to your communications, how you communicate, your communication style, your thoughts, your ideas, your self-talk, your immediate environment, the vibe there, right? In your immediate environment, connections with siblings, with peers, that kind of thing. And so that is for you, Aquarius. And we're going to move on to Capricorn now. And Capricorn, this, again, Cancer is your opposite sign, right? It's like two sides of the same coin. So this is happening on the same axis for you as it is for Cancer, but it's opposite, flipped houses. Because for you, this full moon is happening in your 10th house, and the Sun Chiron conjuncting is in your 4th house. And this is about public life, 10th house, versus private life. This is about our achievements, 10th house, versus our attachments, 4th house. So the full moon is bringing awareness and perhaps some kind of culmination or a release to your public persona, to your career, your ambitions, your reputation, your achievements, your relationship to authority in some way. There may be career relationships highlighted right now, or relationships to authority, right? Or even to your own authority, as I mentioned. There is a balance needed between home and career, between the public life and the private life. This is a call for less competition, more collaboration for you, Capricorn. And then Sun Chiron is conjuncting in your 4th house. So you're being empowered to heal things on the home front with regards to your family, with regards to your place of living, your ancestry, your roots, your sense of emotional security. This is what Chiron and the Sun are coming together to help you with right now. Okay, so that's something to pay attention to. Moving on to Sagittarius. Sagittarius, the full moon's happening in your 11th house, and the Sun Chiron conjunction in your 5th house. So opposite Gemini, right? Because Gemini is your opposite sign, your opposite side of the same coin kind of thing. And for you, Sagittarius, so this is the axis of the personal versus the impersonal, the individual versus the group, right? So the full moon is happening in that 11th house of the group, of friendships, of connections to other people, that go beyond the one-to-one. It's more about the collective, organizations, associations, networks. Also, the 11th house governs our dreams for the future. It's like looking towards the future. And what we hope for that, what we envision for that. So what is your connection to the group, Sagittarius. There may be some kind of culmination or crisis or moment of clarity that comes about regarding your friendships or groups or associations you're connected to, or regarding your dreams and visions for the future, even. So it's a good time for you to take risks and connect with like minds right now. And then the Sun and Chiron are coming together to help you heal your personal creativity, your relationship to your children and your inner child or children that you work with or are connected to. Also to how you have fun in life, what sparks joy for you, even your hobbies, right? That kind of thing. So that's what's happening for you, Sagittarius. And I'm going to move on to last but not least in this case, Scorpio. Scorpio, the full moon is happening in your 12th house, which is kind of like a hidden house. It's not something that we tend to see in the outside world, right? We experience it more on an internal level. And then it's happening opposite the Chiron Sun conjunction in your 6th house. So this is the opposite of what Taurus it is, right? It's the same but opposite, because Taurus is your opposite sign. So it's on the same axis, but the reverse houses. So again, this is the axis of spirituality. And our day-to-day routines is the 6th house, whereas our more, our R&R and our solitude and our spiritual health, rather than our kind of physical health, is the 12th house. It's like order versus chaos, right? I mentioned before when I was speaking to Taurus. So this full moon is calling your attention perhaps to how you've been burning the candle at both ends, Scorpio. You might have a real strong desire for rest and relaxation and solitude right now, and or spiritual renewal in some way. So if you don't heed the call to regain some balance there, right, Libra, the sign of balance, then you might find yourself escaping in maybe less intentional ways or in unhealthy ways, right? And so it's really important right now to balance the daily grind with some rest and relaxation, and to pay some attention to your spiritual life. And this may even, on a basic level, have to do with some culmination or awareness around an institution like a hospital or a spiritual retreat center, a prison, a treatment facility, that kind of thing, which is also ruled by the 12th house, right? Those places that are kind of hidden away from the world, so to speak. And then the Chiron and Sun conjuncting in Aries at the equinox point for you, Scorpio, is offering healing of your daily routines, right? Of those day-to-day work tasks, paid and unpaid, of your health and wellness and routines surrounding that. So, I really see this, like really what's coming through here is like some balance between work and play, between constant doing and being, if that makes sense to you. So I'm going to leave it there. That was all 12 signs. And I really do hope that the messages that you needed to hear came through this 7th time. And, if you would like to reach out, then please do that through the website or, other social media platforms, or leaving a comment or what have you. So take good care. I will be back next week. And I'd love to know how this energy, this big, powerful equinox full moon energy is feeling for you. Okay? Take care. Many blessings. Bye-bye.